Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. I can't believe we are nearing the end of another month already and just 1 month closer to 2024 being over. It feels like this year truly flew by. And actually at the beginning of this week on the 18th, we celebrated 1 year of having Saffron. I adopted her on November 18th of last year. It was a Sunday last year, Monday this year, and it was just really cool to look back and reflect on the past year with her. There's been so much that has happened throughout the past year, but she has just been such a bright spot and not what I expected out of a cat at all. I have never had a cat quite like her, but I love it. She is so much fun to have around. And I do appreciate, even though she gets on my nerves sometimes, that she's such a chatty girl. She's super, super sweet. And she's been so much fun in the plant room, hanging out with me a lot too. And she's just the most adorable little girl. I love her so much. But this is about November favorites today. So I'm gonna let Saffy go. She's gonna go hang out. I think Luna's in here too in the window. So they'll go hang out together and we'll talk about some houseplants. So the first one that I picked out for the month of November is this Hoya Larry. So it might not look like much, but the Hoya Larry is a cross between obovata and fungi. And I see a lot of fungi in this plant. I don't see as much obovata, but it doesn't quite look like a fungi, if you know what I mean. It doesn't look like a clone. I just think recently too, some of the newer leaves have gotten some splash on them. So that reminds me of the fungi a bit more as well. But this is a really cool plant. It hasn't always done the best for me, but it's got a couple clusters of new growth over here. It's really filled out the plant nicely. I've had this one for a while, but like I said, it hasn't always done the best. So I'm very proud of how it looks, given that. It does also already need a repot. I just put it in here and it's just really outgrown this pot already. So I'll have to find a bigger pot to put it into, which is not a bad thing. I think it might grow again once I give it some more room, but it really filled out the pot nicely with the roots. So this is just a really fun, understated Hoya. I don't know what the blooms look like. Maybe that is the next goal for this plant, but it's been a lot of fun. It sits on my windowsill. It does not do well in a cabinet at all. It has done much better in the windowsill conditions. So I'm just gonna try to keep it happy and hopefully we'll get some more growth out of it. This next one doesn't look like too much right now. This is my Scindapsus Jade Ora variegated? Yeah, Ora. And like I said, doesn't look like too much. It's pretty small, but I'm gonna celebrate this win that I finally got new growth out of this plant after repotting it and getting it on this pole. So it's not a ton of new growth. The leaf has yet to unfurl. And it does have a slight bit of damage on it. I don't know if you can see that. Just damaged a little slightly, but it's doing really well other than that. Let me see here. I don't see any root growth in particular on the sides, but I did repot it in the last month or two. So either October or November I repotted this, and the fact that I've already got new growth coming out is such a good sign. I really want to get it growing vertically up this pole. It was trying to grow out horizontally, so that's why I put this Velcro way down here just to help it out a bit. So I'm very excited. The leaf looks like, from what I can see, to have some really good variegation, maybe a little too much. It's scaring me a little in that respect. I'm hoping the half that's rolled in has a lot more green. But this has really good balance overall, variegation on the plant. I love a Scindapsus. They're some of my favorite plants now, just because they're so easygoing and they don't grow too fast or too slow. They're usually pretty steady. So I'm just enjoying having this plant around. I've had it since July. I got it in Massachusetts, and I'm really happy to see that it's finally growing for me. Next up is another Hoya, and I feel like this list is a little Hoya heavy today, but I'm not gonna complain about it because I love my Hoyas. This is the Hoya XQ Silver, also known as XQ Silver, and it's been growing pretty steadily, stopped for a little bit, but then it gave me this giant leaf and it's got a little bit of green on it. It's not fully silver, but I kind of like it. It's very unique. I really like the splashy silver pattern on these leaves overall. compared to some of my other silver Hoyas. The only thing that it kind of reminds me of is my Rime Splash, but it has more silver on it than the Rime Splash does. So the few leaves that have come out have been pretty unique on this plant. I really like that the leaf size is jumping up. I think it's because I fertilized it. I probably need to give it a repot. Yeah, there's some roots coming out the bottom here, so could use a repot. I see some roots actually going toward the top because they're looking for a place to escape. So that's next for this plant. I think it'll probably start growing again once I do that. This was the last leaf that came out on it and it hasn't grown since. It's probably earlier this month it hardened off. So I think it's about time. I have really been putting in work keeping up with this plant because I really enjoyed watching it grow. Gave it this trellis right away just to encourage it, but it's not quite long enough for me to get it all the way up on the trellis. I don't want to break the stem. Other than that, it's just a really fun Hoya. I feel like this Hoya does not get talked about a lot. It's not an expensive Hoya at all. I want to say I maybe paid at most $25 for this plant. So, I mean, you can find it if you're looking for it. I got it from Sam's Hoyas. I just sort of had it in the back of my mind for a while because I knew it wasn't expensive. So I just waited for a nice one at a reasonable price and snagged it, I want to say earlier this year, maybe last year. I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've had this plant, but it's just really fun. It sits on the top shelf of my cabinet where all my favorite Hoyas go because I just really enjoy having it. I love the leaf shape. I love that the leaves are sizing up, and it's just been a really easygoing Hoya in my collection overall. I feel like I had to include this one because it finally stopped blooming and the new leaf has hardened off. So this is my Antherium Magnificum crossed with Silver Blush from Wild Roots Nursery. There's a little bit of browning on this leaf. I figured that would happen just because it's acclimating to a lot lower humidity than the Wild Roots Nursery has. But I love this plant. I love how giant it is. It's really making me want some more big boy anthuriums, just bigger plants in general. I feel like if I had less plants, but they were all bigger, that would be really cool. I don't know, I just really like larger plants now, which is funny because when I first started collecting houseplants, I really wanted smaller ones and I wanted as many as I could get. And that's really shifting now that I have to take care of all of these plants. I'm like, oh, if I have to water you more than once a week, that is a problem for me. So plants like this just are so cool. I feel like this is a plant that if you just came into the plant room, you'd gravitate toward this because it's so big. It's so impressive as a houseplant in general. I mean, it's so freaking cute. I love how big the leaves are. I love the shape. I love the thick silvery veins. That's really the silver blush coming through on this plant. And I just can't wait to see it grow. I'm still looking for the right pot for it. So hopefully I can get it repotted soon. I have been keeping up really well with watering it, so I'm very proud of myself for that. It's been doing pretty well other than, you know, this browning. I'm pretty proud of how it's been doing overall. I'm just hoping that I can get it to continue to grow because this leaf was already just starting to grow when I purchased it. So if I could get a leaf that's growing entirely in my own care, that would be great. I'm not expecting it to grow too fast just because anthurium don't grow that fast for me in general, but oh, it's so cute. I had to include it because it's just the prettiest plant and I love it so much. Finally, I have a Hoya that I feel like I don't show off too much, but I really love having this plant. And that is going to be my Hoya Weimanii Borneo. It is not the fastest grower in the world. It actually took quite a while for it to start growing once I had it. But once it did, it's got a couple of active growth points and it's growing somewhat steadily. I can't complain about it. I did notice just today there is a new leaf, which is why I decided to include it in this video, but I really love how unique this Hoya is. The new leaves come in as an emergent purple, but it also sun stresses to the same purple, which is so nice. It's got this really unique fuzzy leaf, but they're also very rigid. The leaves are very wavy and crinkly, which I also just love. There's the occasional splash, a couple of the leaves up top here. Especially this one have a little bit of splash. It's just such a unique plant. Cat hair does stick to it quite a bit, which I guess is because it's fuzzy, but I don't mind that too much. I will say this plant is impossible for me to photograph, so it's better to show off in a video format, but I'm really loving this plant. I think I got it around September of last year, and it's grown this whole vine for me, and then it's got a new vine coming out here with this little new leaf at the top. And I did just notice as well, it has activated this growth point now as well. That was not active when I purchased the plant. So there's a lot of new growth happening. I have kept it fertilized. I have it in my Millville tall actually, and I have it pretty close to the grow light. So that's why the top leaves are sun stressed pretty well. These are what the non-sun stressed leaves look like. I did wait to buy this in person. It was on my wish list in 2023, but I did wait to buy it in person because everyone was telling me that this plant does not ship well. So I got it at an event at Wild Roots Nursery last year, and I'm very happy that I did because it did not have any shock whatsoever when I brought it home. I didn't lose, it hasn't lost a single leaf for me ever. And it's just been steadily growing and just living life, hanging out, doing its thing. I have not repotted it at all, I think, since I first brought it home. I repotted it once. There are little roots starting to grow out the sides, just the slightest bit. So I don't think that it's going to need a repot anytime soon. So I'm just gonna let it keep living its life. It doesn't seem to put out runners like many Hoyas do, so I will be keeping this one trailing, which is nice because I like a good balance of trailing and trellised Hoyas, as well as climbing and trailing plants of my other species. So this is just a really fun plant. I highly recommend this one if you're into Hoya and you're just looking for a really unique Hoya to add to your collection. This one is so fun. I cannot say enough good things about it, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I just love this plant so much, and I don't know why I haven't included it in one of these videos. Maybe I did a long time ago, but I truly just love this plant. So that is it for our 5 favorite plants for the month of November. I truly just still can't believe that the year is almost over, but I'm going to let Safi go back to rolling around on the couch and having fun in the plant room this morning because she is just having the best time in here. If you like this video, make sure to give Safi and I a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Girl. Yeah.